Welcome. Today I'd like to give you a very brief orientation and introduction of the Persolog personality factor profile in preparation for your individual one-on-one Persolog debriefing sessions that we'll be having. So let's get started. What is really important to understand is that the Persolog model isn't a model that, I don't like the word assessment actually, because it has something, a certain judging quality about it. It's not about good or bad. It's not some types are better or stronger than or more successful than others. It is really a learning and a discovery tool. And that's really important to understand. It's a tool that allows us to develop and grow personally. It's a tool that allows us to improve our communication skills, our understanding of self, but also others, managing interpersonal relations, improving team dynamics. So it's got a whole range of benefits and possible applications. And it's really up to us to choose how we want to work with the tool. The tool is not going to prescribe or tell us how we should be changing our personality in any way. So let us then have a look at the Johari window model. So the Johari window model consists of 4 quadrants. There's the open free area. There's the blind area, our blind spot really. There's the hidden area and the unknown area. So the open area is what we know about ourselves, and the blind area is what is unknown by ourselves. It's what others know, but we don't know about ourselves. Or sometimes we kind of have a suspicion, but we're a bit in denial. We don't want to know it yet, but either way, it's the blind area, our blind spot. And by soliciting feedback from others, by asking others how they, for instance, experienced a certain situation in which they were involved with together with ourselves, for instance, we can get important feedback, we can learn more about ourselves, and we can actually make that blind area smaller through it becoming an open area. And similarly, the open area is also not only what we know about ourselves, but also what others know about us. And hence the hidden area is what others do not know about us. And through us telling others, through us disclosing more about ourselves and exposing ourselves again, we can reduce that hidden area and open up more of that area. And then lastly, there's of course the unknown area, where through shared discovery, through others' observations, through again, more self-discovery work, we can also reduce that unknown area, which is what is unknown by ourselves and others. So this is the ways in which Persolog provides us with a tool to really open up more of the areas with relation to our and the personalities and behavioral styles and preferences of others. Right, so let's now look into the 4 behavioral styles, the 4 Persolog archetypes, as it were. So what we ask is, there's 2 questions we ask really, 2 questions we use to differentiate between the 4 archetypes. So the first one is, how do I perceive my environment? How does the person perceive their environment? And there we have either stressful or non-stressful. And then the other question we ask is, how do I or how does the person respond to their environment? Do I respond in an assertive or in a non-assertive way? And now, depending on what the answers to those two questions are, we then determine the 4 archetypes. So let's have a look at each of the 4. Let's start with the dominant personality type. It's also known as directive. It goes with the color red. So these are people that generally have a need to control events, and when working with others, take a very directive approach. So they perceive their environment as stressful, they respond to it in an assertive way, and hence that is their typical behavior, would be to take a very directive approach. Next, we have the yellow, the influencing or interactive personality type. These are the people that have a desire to interact with others. And when working with others, they use a very interactive approach, they engage others, and they like to create a lot of lively action. Next, we have the cautious or corrective. So that's the blue personality type. And these are the people that hope to sort of keep things in check and lessen any degree of personal risk. And when working with others, they use a corrective approach. They perceive their environment as stressful. They respond to it in a non-assertive way. So different from the yellow, the influencing, which we saw earlier, perceives their environment as non-stressful and responds to it in an assertive way, sort of the complete opposite, blue and yellow. And then we finally also have the green, the steady or supportive personality type. So these people generally wait for things to happen. They respond in a non-assertive way to their environment, and they perceive their environment as non-stressful. So when working with others, they use a very supportive approach. They display a lot of patience and dependability. And what is very helpful as well, I find, is to make the differentiation between whether, and again, there's no judgment attached to it, but whether the personality type is more people-oriented, which would be the case for the yellow and the green, the influencing and the steady types, or whether the personality type is more task-oriented, task completion, which would be the case for the red dominant and the blue cautious personality types. Right, so what the system in the background does, the online system, as you did provide your answer to the questions asked, the system always makes a note into which of the personality types that answer fell, and then it comes up with a number. So this person here, for instance, their report shows the number 21. Now, the first number is what would be determined as their primary behavior. In this instance, number 2, so influencing interactive behavior. And then the second number, the 1 in the 21, identifies their secondary behavior. In this instance, red, dominant, directive. Now, if you have 3 numbers, like, for instance, myself, 1, 2, 4, it means you have versatile behavior. So you draw on 1 or more personality types. Now, most people have a 2 number, 2 numbers. They have 2 behaviors. there's hardly ever people that have only one number. So there's hardly any personality types 1, 2, 3, or 4. Most people have 2 numbers. Some people have 3 numbers, which is versatile behavior. So they draw on more than 2 personality behavioral types. So as I said, for instance, to just quickly look at that example again, myself being 1, 2, 4, it here falls within the dominant personality type, but it also draws on influencing, number 2, and on cautious behavior, number 4. So, and this is for in my work environment, in my work professional environment and role. I'm a 1, 2, 4, and knowing that is helpful, because I can be more aware when the dominant kicks in, or the influencing, or the blue, and when I should maybe bring in more green, or hold back with the yellow, or with the red, or whatever it may be. So let's then proceed and have a look at the 3 Persolog self-concepts next. Now, in your reports, you'll see that there's 3 self-concepts. There's graph 1, which is the public self-concept. Now, the public self-concept is what we believe others expect from us. So in other words, in the work environment, it would be what we believe others expect from us in terms of behavior, in terms of attitude, in terms of how we react to things, people, or situations, what role we take on. That would be our public self-concept, graph number 1. Then there is also, next there's graph 2, our private self-concept. Now, our private self-concept is less conscious. The public self-concept is quite a conscious choice that we make. Of attitude, intention, and behavior. The private self-concept is more involuntary, let's say. It's more closer to our inner core beliefs and values, our temperament. It's something that forms in early childhood years and youth. And obviously, it's something that we can work with and again become more aware and conscious of, and we can then also revisit our beliefs and our values and whether they do still serve us at this point in our lives. But so that's our inner, our private self-concept. And then lastly, there's graph 3, the composite self-concept, which is really sort of the average, if you like, between the public and the private. So in other words, it's how others perceive us. So it is because we may, under our public self-concept, want to show up in a certain way or do our best to show up in a certain way, but our private self-concept, our very inner core beliefs and values still push through. So as a result, the way others perceive us is then an average of the two. It's the composite self-concept. So again, to use myself as an example, my graph number 2, my private self-concept in the work environment is a 2-4. So it's yellow, influencing, interactive, and it's blue, cautious, corrective. But my graphs 1 and 3, so my public self-concept, how I believe others expect me to show up in my professional role, and how others then really also experience and perceive me are both 1, 2, 4. So very high on dominant directive, the red, and then also still the yellow, the influencing interactive, and the blue, the cautious corrective. And what is also interesting to note here is that the different personality and behavioral styles and types also have different abilities and willingness to receive and send signals. So the dominant directive type is better at sending, for instance, than receiving signals from others. And hence they project a very demanding public self-concept. Whereas the yellow, the interactive influencing types, sorry, but we're going to have to cut here.
No worries. What do you...
Yeah. Sorry, just a second. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, no, I think everything is fine. But I was also, it doesn't really work. I think it doesn't, maybe I don't really need to go into the detail of the sending and receiving signals. Is it possible to cut that somehow?
Yeah, it is.
I think let's...
Where do you... Yeah, it's just that's way... I'm not sure where you want me to cut. If you can give me an idea.
Can you play it back to me or no?
No, I can only... Sorry, I can only get the file after we end the call, because then Zoom will then convert the file, yeah.
Yeah, I think at some point I said something like, so what is... There was a bit of a pause, and then I said something like, so what is also interesting to note...
Okay, cool. I'm just going to make a note here. This was...
I think actually... There's no time now. Night still, and we. But it's nice to record it tomorrow. I'm gonna look different. I mean, as in, you know, it's nice if it looks like it was recorded in one go.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I'll, that's why I was asking for that cue, because then I know where to cut. Yeah.
No, but I'm still thinking whether I should still incorporate it, just not, maybe I can show it with showing the slide of the understanding the 4 behavioral. No, I'm just going to leave it out. Okay, let's, I still have 5 minutes. I can push to 10 minutes, but let's just try and push through. Okay, let me just quickly prepare and I'll give you the countdown now. Okay, let me just close the door again. Okay, so 5, 4, 3. So there's 7 Persolog discovery steps. The first one is understanding the 4 different behavioral styles. The second one is developing strategies for success. Third one is grasping our personal beliefs that influence the way we behave and show up. Fourth is dealing with change. So if we want to start working and responding to certain persons or situations differently, how can we go about that? How can we, what we refer to in Persolog lingo as orchestrate our behavior? The 5th step is dealing with potential stress. Dealing with potential stress implies, so where there's a difference between graph 2 and 1, there's potential for stress, because we feel that we have to show up differently, wearing a mask, as it were, differently from what our inner beliefs and values and preferences really are, and that can result in stress. The sixth discovery step is performing work that suits your personality, so becoming clearer on what really suits your personality. And then the seventh step is collaboration in work teams. Now, we're going to only really cover the first two discovery steps in the one-on-one debrief. We're going to provide you with an understanding of the behavioral styles, and we're going to look a little bit at developing strategies for success. And in order to do so, and in preparation for our one-on-one debriefing sessions, I would like to ask you, please, to do two things. Firstly, to read pages 9, 10, and 11 in your reports. You don't need to read through the whole report. In fact, it might be a bit confusing without guidance. So I recommend that you read pages 9, 10, and 11. And then I also would like you, please, to look up on page 12. You'll see there's a little table like this one here. And in that table, your graph 3 entry number will be circled. So this one, for instance, this person is their graph 3 is their composite self-concept is a 4-3. And their personality type is described on page number 28. So just go to page 12 in your report, look for that table, and read the page that you find indicated below the number that's circled. So you're not going to be reading page 43 in this instance, but page 28. And then if you wish, you could read, and that's entirely optional, but if you want to learn more about the other 23 personality types, you would then read pages. You could read pages or just browse through pages 13 to 32, because that's where you'll find the description of the other personality types. In fact, it's not 24, there's 20 in total. So you would read your own, and if you wanted to, you could also read some of the other 19 types that are described. On that one pager, you will find what the Persolog model recommends are sort of the generic strategies for success for your specific personality type. Now, of course, there are millions and millions of people that share that specific personality type with you, and we are very much aware that within those millions, every person is an individual again. So some things may resonate with you, some things may apply to you, others may not resonate or not apply to you at all. It's for you to choose what you find helpful and what rings true to you and what you can and would like to work with. So with that, thank you very much for your time and interest in this very broad introduction to the Persolog model. And I look forward to our one-on-one debriefing sessions with each one of you. So I'll see you soon.